Ethan's world had shifted in ways he couldn't have imagined. The sterile white walls of the government facility where he was being held felt cold and unfamiliar. He had been examined by scientists, interrogated by authorities, and watched with wary eyes by everyone around him. Though his surroundings were futuristic, the questions he had were ancient. How had he traveled through time? And more importantly, why? The room he was placed in was small, with a single window offering a panoramic view of Neo-Tokyo. The city stretched far beyond the horizon, gleaming with lights and bustling with life. Yet, Ethan felt a deep sense of isolation. This wasn't his world. He didn't belong here, and every passing second reminded him of how far removed he was from the life he had once known. Hours passed before Agent Lyra, the woman who had first encountered him, walked into the room. Her posture was calm, her eyes studying him with a mix of curiosity and authority.
Ethan, we've been analyzing the data you provided about your experiment. It seems impossible.
She glanced at the tablet in her hand, her expression unreadable.
You say you were working on a time travel project. Can you tell me more about it?
I was just a scientist working with a team on a theoretical machine. The goal was to study the past, not interact with it, but the machine malfunctioned, and I ended up here. I don't understand it either.
The device you used, it seems to have caused a temporal anomaly. It didn't just send you here, it tore through time. We've detected traces of a rift.
A rift?
A rift in the timeline. We believe you weren't the only one affected. There may be ripples, consequences from your arrival.
So, I'm not just some random anomaly, I'm changing things.
It's possible, but we need to understand more. You're not the first time traveler we've encountered, but the scale of what happened with you, it's unprecedented.
What do you mean, not the first time traveler?
Several years ago, there were brief, unexplained rifts that brought people from different time periods, long before your arrival. They were quickly apprehended, studied, and in some cases integrated into society. But none of them have caused the kind of disruption we're seeing now.
You're saying I'm dangerous?
We don't know yet, but we need to determine the full extent of your impact on the timeline.
Ethan could feel his pulse quicken. He didn't want to be a threat. He hadn't asked for any of this, but the gravity of the situation was starting to sink in. He was at the center of a storm he didn't understand.
I didn't mean to cause this. I just wanted to learn, to study time, to understand it.
I know, and we're going to help you, Ethan. We're not here to punish you, but we need to understand your experiment, how it happened, and more importantly, how we can prevent any further disruptions.
So what now?
We need to revisit your experiment. You may hold the key to stabilizing this anomaly, or at least to understanding why it happened.
You want me to build another machine?
Yes, but this time we'll help. You won't be alone.
As Ethan and Lyra began their work on the new time travel project, the implications of what they were doing began to weigh heavily on both of them. Ethan wasn't just a time traveler anymore. He was a pawn in a much larger game, one that involved not only time, but the very fabric of reality itself. But as they dug deeper into the technology and theories behind his initial experiment, an unsettling realization began to form. The anomaly had been more than just a mistake. It wasn't just a malfunction, it was a deliberate breach, a sign that someone or something else was manipulating the timeline. And Ethan had become the unwitting messenger of a much greater force, one that had plans far beyond the scope of his understanding. As the machines hummed around him, Ethan couldn't help but wonder, what else had crossed through the rift? And was there something or someone waiting for him on the other side?